It's almost an unfair advantage we have at Marvel Studios because we've got all of the comics, and the best comic artists in the world have worked on our comics, so we have amazing inspiration to start from. We also have the best artists working in film today here on staff at Marvel Studios that work from production to production, and led by Ryan Meinerding.
One of the most exciting things about Captain America was trying to find that balance of, period to heightened Marvel to try and find a way to make Cap feel real and that he would have existed back in the day.
Ryan Meinerding is very good about going back to the old books and pulling reference and standing next to the costume designers and saying, this is where I started from. There's thinking behind here. This strap isn't here just because it looks cool. This strap is here because this is where this would go and this connects to this. And once you come at it from a practical place like that, everything else falls into place.
The original costume for Captain America has been classic. There have been attempts to redesign that costume over the years, and nothing has ever been as wonderful and as classic as the original. It's a real tough design to beat. It's almost perfect.
The classic Captain America costume, the one that has been in the comics for so long, is a brilliant rendition of a costume, and the fact that it has survived since the 40s without significant change says something about it.
I think every artist who sort of leaves their mark on Captain America over the past few decades understands that there's sort of essential ingredients of the costume. The color motif for one, the stars and stripes for another.
I really feel like the stuff to be gained is look at the research and revel in it and find iconic key moments that really make him who he is. One of the biggest problems that we'll have as concept artists is that we're working in sort of a vacuum of how do we make this guy look as great as possible? And that doesn't necessarily take into consideration the real actor's body type. It becomes a difficult challenge, and I think that a lot of the stuff that we try to do is just make a really amazing looking costume.
Initially, when Captain America becomes Captain America, he's not released to go off and fight right away. He's used kind of as a propaganda tool. He's in this very silly Captain America costume, it's tights.
When you sit down and really step back and look at the Cap costume in the comic books, it's not a real practical costume to try to do. Like, the two things that people always allude to are these bell-bottom pirate boots, which were there for years, and the wings that are on the cowl, and they don't work.
One of the things that suit was particularly interesting for the Marvel guys was to try and actually get a full-on version of Captain America on screen.
The treatment of incorporating the original comic costume into the entertainment USO of it all into the movie, it's a respectful nod to what was designed in the comic books, but also put it in a very realistic place. And then the evolution of what that costume becomes in the movie and how it works in a practical application for someone who's fighting in an action adventure, it works really well. They did a great transformation, but it evolves kind of through the movie.
When we get to the final suit, you do have the stripes, you do have the red, white, and blue, but there are, subtle modulations to try and make it feel real, and that USO suit is basically an unadulterated version of Captain America's.
You can't have him really step out of the pages of the comic book onto the screen. You have to interpret the visual palette that you've got from the comic book, put it on the screen.
Then there's the Bucky rescue outfit.
He has some of the uniform on. He has the shirt with the star. He has the pants, but he borrows a leather jacket. He borrows a helmet. He takes a gun. And when he comes back after freeing all of these men that have been imprisoned by Hydra, and he's hailed a hero, it's decided, this costume, it's not only me they were clapping for, they're clapping for the costume.
And that is the connection between his stage costume and what later happens to be his Cap costume.
And he has some design ideas for the costume, which he gives to Howard Stark, and Howard Stark then implements it. And then what you see is the coolest costume.
The decision to keep the colors, perhaps slightly cooler than on stage, is his, because he sees how much it's valued by other people. So we didn't just want to give him cool tech for the sake of giving him cool tech. We wanted him to want it and own it for emotional reasons, for character reasons.
I think it's timeless. Even though it's set in the period, it can be used even today.
That Cap costume, producers didn't want to have anything obviously out of 40s, not connected to reality of 40s.
The suit's actually made out of mostly nylon. There's some canvas in there, but it's made out of stuff that the military would make straps. We were trying to get more of like a Kevlar weave sort of feel to it, so it would feel like an actual battle suit.
Big point about the suit is that it's come from a world of workwear and it's come from a world of battle dress, and that it really should be as functional as possible.
It's a combination of superhero costumes and a soldier costume, and that I think was the challenge to achieve that, and also constructing these costumes because they have to move. They have to be costumes for action hero. So finding a way of constructing it so it works on the actor, is comfortable and looks good on the screen is difficult.
We're doing illustrations usually trying to figure out the look of the character up front, and a lot of the functionality stuff comes, when they actually do prototyping and figure out, what does Captain America actually have to do on screen.
Chris has been very aware of what he needs to get out of the suit, and the minute he was in anything that was like a finished suit, literally jumped around and moved as much as he could, and naturally quite rightly concerned about the range of his movement.
That went through a lot of different stages. Obviously, there's a lot of people involved in making the suit who worked very hard on it, and I would just kind of come in every couple weeks and try a new outfit on, and they would poke and prod and measure and cut, and I'd kind of stay out of it, and then finally they got it where they wanted it.
This is the best version.
Absolutely.